He's not wrong. Like, if they get knocked out next year, won't we look back at it and say, yeah, they were pretty lucky to get the path they did with all these banged-up teams and then a 5 seed in the final? Won't we do that?
New York was banged up.
Yeah, New York was banged up, and so
we won't do that?
No, I'm just, making a face because they didn't see New York, so didn't matter.
Yeah, but New York got banged up and lost to Indiana, I think is his point.
I don't like this point. I get it, but I feel like we're past this. Why are we still doing this? Why is anyone still doing this? Yes, you can look in the East and say that certainly injuries help them. But that would be one thing if they got there in the finals and it was a 7-game series that came down to, the final quarter. It wasn't. They completely handled the Mavericks to the point that it was kind of boring.
Yeah, 5 seed. So, I just think if his point is that they're not going to have that same path again, they're never going to be that lucky to have that path again, I think he's right. I just think...
I don't think it matters.
I think he would have beat whoever they played anyway in the East. And they also played... listen, I don't think they played the best team in the West, but they beat the team that beat the best teams in the West who were at full strength. There weren't a bunch of injuries over there.
I think they would have beaten those teams too. I think they're going to beat Philly and New York and everybody else this year. I think they're going to win the title. But, we won't know until they go through a tougher path. So I don't think it's unfair of Shaq to say. It is odd he's holding on to it. And it's Jones and Mego with Arcan here on WEEI. Jayson Tatum has weighed in. He talked about the haters. I imagine Shaq might be one. He said 100% shortly after getting ready for the Olympic Games in Vegas. Is that where they are? He said, being the topic of discussion for so many debates on whether I can lead a team. Am I a top 5 player? He said, there's still a lot of things I guess they can debate. You're hearing some of that from Shaq. But now I've done something they can't debate. I've won a championship. Having that under my belt, obviously, it's still conversations to be had or whatever people want to say, but they always have to refer to me as an NBA champion. I think that's fair. He's being asked about the haters and the doubters and people questioning him. I think that's fair. I think some of the, grave dancing with the Celtics unprompted is a little carrying on. But if you're asked directly about the haters, we do have to refer to you as an NBA champion. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going, why are we still talking about the path that took them to the championship? Once they were there, they handled business. And so I think it's kind of an outdated perspective.
Are there no fluky championships, though? We do talk about some teams that are fluky. We talk about the Bruins and go, boy, that was kind of fluky in retrospect because it was just a hot goalie. I don't know. I look at some of those.
But it wasn't just Jaylen Brown.
We don't take away the championship.
It wasn't just Jaylen Brown got hot in the playoffs, and that's what carried you through. That's more what happened to the Mavs, and then you saw how far it can take you. It couldn't take you far enough when you went up against the bona fide best team in the NBA. And at the end of the day, that's what the Celtics were. So I understand the point. I don't disagree that they got helped out by a lot of injuries. At the same time, I'm not going to punish the Celtics because they're the one team in the East who wasn't one injury away from not being contenders. They had an injury throughout. They had Porzingis injured throughout almost the entire thing.
Yeah, they never needed him. So when it comes
That's what I'm saying. So don't punish them. Don't
I don't think he's punishing them. I think he's just saying if you want to be...
Don't discredit the championship because they're the one team who was not one injury away.
I don't think he is. I think it's just if you want to separate from the other one-off champions over the last 6 years, this is how you do it.
We'll see if they're a one-off.
You got to go do it again, right?
Boston had it easy.
You had to go do it again. They did have it easy.
I also think if Tatum's going to keep going on about, if you're going to keep talking about me and having debates about me, everyone's talking about me. Right, if he's allowed to keep doing that, then everyone else is allowed to keep saying they had an easy path, I guess.
And again, I think Tatum...
That's how discourse works.
Tatum was asked about it, and so to me that's a little different. Here's something I had a problem with. I had no problem with those comments from Tatum. Here's something I had a problem with. He's talking about Joe Mazzulla. He says Joe is already trying to draw up crap for next season, he said with a smile. And I was like, Joe, F that. We just won a championship. Enjoy it. Relax. He said, I'm not worried about any sets that he's trying to put in right now. We had a laugh about it because he's so driven, which we all are. But it's man, we've worked so hard for this. We have to enjoy it. So I know he's at Team USA, and he's not taking time off, and he's going to go try to win a gold, although the team could do it with or without him. They're going to win gold. They don't need him. And so it's kind of a foregone conclusion they're going to win. I like Mazzulla's approach more than Tatum's, to be honest.
Why don't you take it down a notch? No mercy!
I like Mazzulla's approach more than Tatum's here. It's relax. That's the kind of fat and happy stuff that scares me about the Celtics title defense more than anything else. And I see a few clues of that in his answer there.
Right, because it feels like after the 2018 Red Sox won the World Series. It's like, guess what? We can probably just roll out of bed and do it again next year, and it's not going to take the same amount of effort as it did the year before to sustain that. At the same time, like, we are so recently removed from it that I think it's okay to have that perspective right now. It's just, what are you going to feel like in August? I prefer Mazzulla's approach, but I'm not going to, like, kill Tatum for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to kill him for it, but, like, Mazzulla's trying to draw up new stuff and, like, figure out ways to win the title next year, and Tatum's like, I don't have time for that right now. I got to relax.
I mean, Mazzulla's also just being a hardo, doing the same stuff he always does, which I think is sort of part of his personality.
Did Mazzulla tell the media, or did Tatum tell the media? Mazzulla's not, like, trumpeting it to the media that, hey, I drew up all these new things. I don't think, unless he's done that somewhere.
He was saying that, like, on the podium after they won. He's like, I'm walking around going, like, no, guys, we're, this is fun for now, but everybody is 0-0, and we have a target.
We're falling behind.
I don't know if he said those exact words or whatever, but I do know he's had that attitude this entire time, and it's like, okay, like,
I don't hate that attitude.
It's the same kind of thing with Tatum and the debate and all that. It's like, all right, we got it. Like, you're very focused. Yeah,
is borderline certifiable, and I think that's a great quality that he has.
Yeah,
like, this is who he is. This is
I don't
the guy
think he'll let
loves.
them. I don't think he'll let them rest on.
Okay, well, I mean, Tatum's saying, don't draw. I don't want to draw anything up. There's also this after they win gold. Because he says, after we win this, I'm going to get some downtime. That's another thing he said where I'm like, all right, like, you're entitled to downtime and, like, you're entitled to relax. Obviously, you need an off season to recover and everything else. But, like, this idea that, like, I'm getting downtime, I'm going to relax, hey, Joe, chill out. I'm not saying the Celtics won't win because of it. But those are little warning signs where I go, this is what happens when you win and you now have your contract. You get fat and happy as the drive's still there. It's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, you can be fat and happy for like 4 weeks, and then you have to get back to it. And so maybe it's just him saying, like, hey, don't be surprised if you see me on Instagram at some stupid beach club or something, and, I look like I'm having a good time, and I'm not just chucking up shots in the gym. Like, that I've earned a couple weeks off. I think that's okay. It's just a matter of, okay, can you come back with the same fire and intensity to repeat the following year, especially knowing that things might change really quickly when you have a new owner coming in?
Yeah, like, a lot of teams want to relax. But the ones that, stay driven are the ones that win more titles and aren't just one-offs.
Sure. I'm not worried about him, though. I'm just not. I mean, like, Tatum's never come into camp out of shape. Like, he's always taking good care of himself. He always seems like he starts the season well. Like, that's never been an issue with him. Maybe the one year when he played in the on Team USA, and then at the end of the season in 2022, it wasn't the Olympics, but in 2022 when he played, and then he hurt his knee or something. But, like, I'm not worried about that. It's never been a problem for him.
I'm not saying he won't come in out of shape or anything like that. But
I mean, Michael Jordan partied in the offseason.
Yeah,
you can do that and still win.
He sets the tone, though. And so, I don't know, like, are other guys going to cut corners because they go, yeah, you know what? Jason's right. Let's relax. And screw Joe. Let's not draw up any plays. Let's relax.